ठीक है भैया, तो आपके इंग्लिश टेस्ट में पास हुई आया।
ही को बस थोड़ा आराम से बोलना, माइक अच्छा रख लेना क्योंकि एक्सेंट प्रॉब्लम रहती है.
You won't believe like how many assignment I have pending right now.
Nice. So as you can see, pretty chaotic person.
I wake up pretty late. I wake up at like 10 or like 10:30 or
That's
after
not
that,
late.
भैया एक काम कर सकते हैं क्या, ये मम्मी देख लिए तो नहीं कर सकता, वो मुझे निकाल देंगे. हाँ मतलब मैं 10:30 तो मैं वैसे बोल रहा था, मैं 1 बजे उठता हूँ.
ये can do generation.
Money will change you eventually. 19 like you are. So great thinking, and I think it's very small. When I was 19, I didn't know half as much as you do. In fact, I started coding when I was 19. Hi everyone, and welcome to a new video. This video is a candid discussion with Sargam. Sargam is a second-year college student from a tier 3 college. Very nice, good clickbait. And he has recently joined an internship in a US-based startup remotely. This video will touch upon his journey, when he started to code, why did he feel like the cohort was necessary, was it even necessary, his journey of contributing aggressively, the biggest thing he did right, which was become one of the top most contributors on GitHub in the 100x devs repositories, then getting referred, being in college, having not the best background, because in college companies are always a little finicky to hire you. How did he get around it and finally got hired as a remote intern? With that, let's get right into it. Sargam, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Kirat Bhaiya. Thanks for everything. I know a lot of people who admire you, and I'm one of them. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Great. Thank you for coming. Would love to know from the start. College ka batao. What college did you join and what was your pre-college days like? Did you prepare for JEE? Were you a computer science nerd from the beginning?
Okay, that's a very interesting question to me because just to make things clear, I'm not from India. I'm from Nepal. I guess you know that. And thing is that I'm from very humble beginnings. Like means I was born and brought up in the southeastern part of Nepal from the Japa district. Then after I did my basic schooling there, and I will move on to the capital city Kathmandu for my high school. And after that, what happened was that Nepal and India, they have got some kind of scholarship program. So I got into that, and because of that, fortunately, I went I got the chance to stay here in Bangalore and got my college. Like my college name is Jain University. It's not the finest of the college, but it is pretty fine for me because yeah.
Got it. I did not know this. You told me about Nepal. I did not know you were natively from there and only moved here for your college. Is that the case?
Yeah, that's actually true. And it was pretty ad hoc because I just knew that I was joining this college 2 days or 3 days prior, and because of that, I guess this makes sense because I didn't do any JEE or stuff. But I was always goodies in studies and stuff. Yeah.
Got it. Well, how do you like India then? That's probably my first question to you. Was this a cultural shock to you?
Not really, because the place where I'm there, it's about 10 or 15 kilometers away from India. So I have seen, how does it actually look. And my home is pretty near to the airport. It's almost 30 kilometers. So I knew what India's was like. And really one thing I appreciate about India is that their payment system, UPI, it's really crazily God level good. Yeah.
Yeah, people love API. That makes a lot of sense. All right. So you joined college, and did you do any computer science before college?
Yeah, that's that's a trivial question because I was always interested in this field because from my ever since I remember breaking things and trying to fix them, and most of the cases I didn't used to, but I always wanted to be that boy who is very fast with his keyboard, because now I'm currently, and I tried typing, I tried using monkey type, and there was as you always say, there have been a lot of mentors in my life, a lot of mentors who are 1 or 2 years smaller than me, but they taught me a lot about computer science and stuff. One guy, he's Samrit, he's currently in Nepal, but he's very good at Python. I have he's one of the best guy who who knows about meta classes and stuff in Python. That's he's one of the biggest thing for me.
Got it.
Yeah.
Nice. So you got a decent community from your college. You did a little bit of typing speed. I want to be Mark Zuckerberg pre-college, but coding तुमने ज़्यादा नहीं की थी.
Yeah, like I can say that, but I did like I never did like coding to learn React or learn Next.js. Like I never had that controversy, should I learn React or Next? But I did like I created Discord bots, I created GitHub apps, I created this automation tool. Whenever I click O on the keyboard, it will do a screenshot. And like my like pre-college days were like rising Arch Linux using i3 and stuff, like pretty like not important stuff in terms of my the journey or job or something, but really cool stuff. Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. You were generally curious about computer science. You did a bunch of things without the intention of getting a job, generally because you were curious about that. That makes a lot of sense. That's a pretty good trait to have. I did not have that, by the way. मैंने college में जाके ही सीखा था. Great.
It makes sense. Yeah.
What's next? So you joined college. You are doing a computer science degree, I'm assuming.
Yeah, correct. I'm doing computer science, Btech.
Btech, and you're in your 2nd year now.
Yeah, sophomore. And
Sophomore.
like you won't believe like how many assignments I have pending right now.
Nice. That is exactly why the person who was employing you was a little cautious कि अभी college में है, how will you manage? But nice. So your college is it like a lot of work? Or
not really, because I was in a pretty strict high school, and from there like everything yeah, like it's pretty chill. Like
got it. That makes a lot of sense. Cool, man. Okay, let's get into the juicy bits. So you are in college now. You want a job. You want to make money. What was your journey like? कि हाँ भाई यहाँ से I will try to get a job. What did you do?
To be really honest, like from the very start, like my parents and stuff, like they never forced me to like you try to be this person or you try to earn this much or stuff. But eventually that all came from looking at like seniors and telling like 12 lakh package and like 20 lakh package and stuff, like the numbers game. I got that in whenever I joined college, and I thought like it will be pretty cool if I get something like around this number or that number. But like money was not a concern for me, like not telling in that way, for everyone money is something. But I was generally curious on things like how do keyboard work or how do mouse work or stuff. And what happened to me, what struck me is that since I had like 2 year like more contributions in my GitHub, you can see there like and I was okay, it has been a long time, so I should probably get started, right? I should probably start with something. So at that point, and my friend, like one of my friend, he told me that, oh, you know a lot of stuff, like everything you ask me, like I know a very high level, either that is grpc, trpc, graphql, rest, or anything, like any language, like I know very high level. But I have never deep down into any nitty gritty stuff, right? So because of that, like I really tried to last 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, I really tried to emphasis on the skills that were really needed to get a job. And uh fortunately I got one. Like I didn't get it myself because I'm not that proud, but you were you were there to help me, so thank you for that. And yeah, that's it.
I think pretty sure you got it on your own only. The only thing I did was refer, which is like a very, if I wouldn't have referred, you would have gotten into a different place purely because you are so. Two things. Number one, as you said, you're very good at your skills. Number two, you also understand priorities. All of your issues, pull requests. So one of the things that generally companies look at is who's able to क्योंकि code तो यार in the end anyone can code. It's not too difficult. If you look at the number of contributors now, a lot of people are sort of contributing. But understanding what is the most the thing that's needed the most by the CEO, the CTO, whoever is the stakeholder, that is one property that stood out in you. Also, when I referred you, not a lot of people were referring you. H Singh, Nimit, three, four more people were contributing. So it was a very easy connect for me to make. And as you said, I based on your contributions felt like whatever is needed in that specific stack, it fairly well. So yeah, I don't know if you learned it. Okay, maybe that's a good question. How are you targeting issues in the repository? How did you know Next.js? How did you study Next.js considering it's a Next.js repository?
Okay, so in order to explain how did I learn Next, I should go back like 1.5 years when I actually learned React. So whenever I learned React, I was like I'm not that old, like I'm 19, and I was 17 when I learned React. So it was okay, I understand this. You return something JSX, TSX, and what is state? Like I could get the counter to work, but I didn't really understand like, okay, in this way the state is being changed. What is reconciliation? What are the fancy terms that I understand right now? Like why should you memorize a app, or why should you use callback and stuff? So at that time I never understood those, but code or your online things like how to be a React, like how to be good at React and stuff, that really helped me because I could pinpoint the things that really mattered, right? Like I could understand about components, I could understand about JSX, I could understand about like how Babel compiles, right? But I could not understand really about the hooks, like when to use ref or when to use memoization, and when it becomes like why when not to over engineer app, right? So I got the thing from you actually. Thank you for that.
Got it. Sargam, it feels like you feel like this is a very promotional video. चिल हो जाओ एकदम, तुम आराम से बताओ एकदम. You don't have to promote the court in every.
नो 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 नहीं, मतलब मुझे बहुत ज्यादा आता था, ठीक है, पहले से ही मतलब आता था, पर कुछ भी मतलब ऐसे ऐसे करना है ऐसा नहीं आता था. मतलब इन जनरल जैसे कि यूनिट टेस्टिंग करने आता था, पर एंड टू एंड नहीं आता था. मतलब इसके लिए तो आपने किया है, तो राइट है भैया, सही में.
ओके गॉट इट. ठीक है, चलो आई विल टेक दैट क्रेडिट. तो ओके, सो देन मे बी कमिंग बैक टू द क्वेश्चन कि ठीक है, तुम्हें डीप में पता चल गई ये चीज़ें, हुक्स ऐसी हो जाते हैं, रिएक्ट ऐसे वर्क करता है. Did that really help though in contributing, or is a lot of times contributing to projects is more about kuch karke just making that fix and testing it aggressively? Did it really, basically my question is does someone need to get into this much depth to get or to start contributing to get a job, or do you think enough React, जैसे तुमने बोला तुमने 1.5 साल पहले React सीखी थी, that much React is enough to contribute and give an honest answer कि हाँ अगर इतनी React आती है तो you can read through the code base, somehow understand and make contributions? What do you think?
Yeah, that's a very nice question because like I get a lot of DMs about this, like when should I start, and they, like people are telling like how do I set up the repository, and they want to contribute, right? And I mean like that's a really bad thing because you don't know how to set up the project, then how are you thinking of even contributing to it? Like don't like whatever the issue is, like don't copy paste it in the chat GPT, and like whatever the code it gives you, try to insert there and you try to fix the syntax, and you are like, oh, done. Like that's not the way, right? But like I think like you can get over with pretty simple things because in CMS we aren't using any complex reactive stuff. Like there are a lot of things to improve, right? We could improve upon a lot of things, but I think like one of the most underrated skills for open source is that you can easily find like Control Shift F, Command Shift F, and find the exact point, right? Go to there, like for example the issue is in the create new course button, then directly you search there, right? And try to understand the file and like whatever is being imported and whatever the issue is in, right? So I don't think like you need like a lot of React, like whatever is taught in the code, it's like fine. But if you have got ample knowledge about stuff, then you can even figure out like your own issues, right? For example, why would you ever use callback, or why would you ever use forward ref or stuff? Like if you know complex things, then it's better for you because you can write codes that is much optimized. But I think you can get over with fairly simple things and fairly simple Next.js stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree to this. I think, if you go through a few Next.js tutorials, create a few projects of your own, you can start to contribute. Now, there are files, there are issues that you might not be able to touch with them, but that is fine. It's still a great start. But as he said, unless you can set up the project locally, that is one thing you should never get handheld on, because if the first step only you're getting handheld on, then it will, only get tougher from there, and you'll make some useless contributions. So the best thing you can do is until you can set up a project locally, don't start contributing to it, and don't get handheld contributing to a project. Get handheld learning, but not in the real contribution phase. Alrighty.
Yeah. And one thing I like to add, this is the real thing. Like I never learned Next.js too seriously, and whenever I went into the codes like code base, right, then like I could figure out because it's fairly simple stuff. Like if you know backend, if you know front end, then you'll automatically understand any code base, right? Like only different thing that we are doing there is server action stuff. So it is fairly easy to understand. And like I mean like if you are good in one thing, then automatically if you are really good in one thing, then like switching to Next.js or switching to Vue, Nux, Svelte, Alpine, anything, like it's not a hard job, right?
Exactly.
That's what I think.
It's computer science in the end, right? So there's a certain way to write front end, and then framework doesn't matter, certain way to write back end, language doesn't matter. Totally agree. ठीक है. So what's your net span of tech stacks that you currently know decently well?
Okay. If we go out, what I'm really confident in, it's like React Next, Express, like it's Express.Next.js and stuff. But what I really know is that I'm pretty good in Python, but I haven't polished my skill set. Like the boy I told him, like the Samrit guy, like he told me like like Python is also a good language, because like nowadays, like Python also have got type checking and stuff. So I was really interested in that. And like there is like similar, like you can configure Python to be TypeScript, like you can have their types and stuff. So I'm also good in Python. I know Fast API, Django, Flask stuff. And like I have like once in my life tried Go. Like I didn't really like it, because Node.js, it was pretty simple. But yeah, that's it. And Rust, like the book, I have been to like chapter 7 or chapter 8, the Rust
Nice.
book.
Pretty cool. Perfect. That sounds great, man. Yeah, that's a lot of like that's pretty much the stack that I know as well. ठीक है. So do you think specifically for this job, let's say, did your Django Rust skills would have helped at all, or या फिर इतने only one would have been enough for this specific job? But if it would have been a different job, only Django would have been enough. I guess my question is, does someone need to learn everything to be able to get a job, or just getting very good in one is a good thing?
uh, like I'm pretty bullish on telling that you learn one thing and be good at that thing, then you are like absolutely fine. Like if you try like becoming like me, like juggling stack, trying to learn Django today, Fast API tomorrow, Express day after, and after that Flask, then you won't get anywhere. That's the real truth. Like I tried learning Rust one day, next day I went to Go, next day I went to JavaScript. And like you don't really try to understand like why the stack is really preferred, right? Like I mean, until and unless you get really into React, you want to understand why React is really used for, right? Because similar thing that can be done with vanilla JavaScript. I agree, like it will take a lot of code, but why it's state introduced? Because Dan, he's a pretty like ambiguous guy, and he introduced Redux. So like Redux is not yet another state management tool, right? Because it does something that is very required by one of the biggest giants like Meta, they require, and other companies also using that. So try to understand a stack. And what I believe is that try to go in one thing. Like for example, in state management, the newest Justin is one of the best. Like I feel Justin is one of the best. But if you know Recoil, then continue with Recoil. Don't try to switch, because if you are good with Recoil, then you will be able to switch to Justin pretty easily. But if you try Recoil as well as Justin, then what I feel is that you will be confused in syntax and stuff. For example, I recently moved back to like Python once, and for there, like for I in range and console.log I. So you get the point, right? Like make your hand comfortable in one thing. Then after that, like switching stack, it will be pretty easier, but you will be like a bit confused in the syntax, but you can make your way through. Like that's what I think.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I agree. What else? So I guess, what is your day looking like right now, considering you're in college and doing an internship? Are you able to manage things? How's it going?
So I wake up at like 10 o'clock, or a little bit earlier, depending on like what is planned for the day. For example, if there are exams and if there are tests or something important labs, I should cover them. Then I'll wake up pretty early. Like, and one more thing, like I don't want to skip college. Like I want to skip college, but not the essential speed. Like because there are like only 20% of the things that carry 80% of the importance, right? So I want to be in that. Like I want to just finish that stuff, like which will really cover the 80%, and I'm pretty fine with that. So like I don't try to skip on assignments or labs or practical exams or like assessments and stuff. So I try to plan my day in that way. For example, if there is an exam, then I'll wake up earlier. If there is only like if there are class like which are like waste of time, then I don't go to them. And next thing is that, like if there is a deadline for assignment, I try to finish that. If there are like if internals are there, I inform whoever the manager is, and I tell him like today, this day I have hard exam, I have theory of competition, very hard subject. So and I try to get like the leave for the day, and I'll ask them like I'll work on the weekends and stuff. So I try to manage the time, but it doesn't really happen. I try to manage myself, and like okay, yeah, like I'm not the best one with doing this, but I try to do it.
Got it. I think the best thing is when you have so much chaos, right? You have assignments, college, you have a job now, yeah, whatever, internships. And I think that's a great way to learn. Because it's considering you have so much chaos कि हाँ तुम्हारी college भी है, sometimes you have assignments, you might have interns, plus you have a job, internship, whatever to take care of. You can do multiple things very well and be very productive. Versus अगर तुम्हारे पास एक ही चीज़ होती है ना, you keep on procrastinating. So especially when you're young, I think you should not overwork, probably not the right word, but you get the idea. Having your hands in too many things helps. You learn a lot.
Yeah, like try to be a little bit overcolic, right? Like it will happen in future. Like
100%. Alrighty. So what's your future plan, man? You're in second year, so you still have a lot to go. क्या सोचा है?
Yeah, that's the real problem. I still have a lot to go.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yep.
what I'm thinking is that, I'll try to continue with this. And now, because previously, whenever I didn't have this one, like I was doing another one, like at that time, like I was contributing pretty heavily, right? Like I used to, like, I did to really, like, I didn't use to write code like for like 10 hours a day, but like I used to be on screen, like thinking about this thing to do, that thing to do, like for like 10 hours a day. So now it's like, I think it's pretty chill now. I think I can invest my time in learning something else, or like, contributing to the, a drop station. And yeah, like future plan, I think I'll like, I'm pretty bullish on learning AI, because Web3, everyone will learn.
Mm.
And I'll try to go from there. I'll make my way, and let's see how it goes, because I'm interested in learning that. That's why I'm learning that. I'm not to I need this stuff, but I really want to understand how LLM work,
Mm-hmm.
and how the stuff, fancy stuff, what they are doing right now, they work. So
Got it.
I think I'll go with that.
Do you plan for a master's by any chance in AI, considering?
Absolutely not, I guess.
Why is that?
No, one thing, like, I need to persuade this to my parents, is that, like, the college syllabus is pretty outdated, right?
Right,
I
right.
guess you'll agree with this. And like, like whatever we are learning right now, like either be it DVMS, or be it or computer networks, or a theory of computation and stuff, they are good for theory stuff, but the real knowledge comes from the real life projects and stuff, right? Because at the end of the day, we are just working with the abstraction. I write one function, I write 10 lines of code, and like something happens in a website, like tada effect happens there. Like I don't know what the underlying thing is going on. We are just
Yeah.
connecting, back and front end, and done. Like no, like, no any, like, our hassle has been there, right? For example, like, I'm not criticizing you, but in the chess project, like the heavy lifting is already done by the chess.js, right?
Oh,
So I mean,
100%. All of it. Yeah, yeah.
I do want to become someone like that, because like, really programming is that, and not just joining pieces.
Oh,
But we get
100%.
pretty well paid for joining pieces also, so fine with that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think great example, right? Chess may, most of the heavy lifting is done by chess. And when I wrote it 7 years ago, that library did not exist. So I had to write the whole validator myself, which is,
Okay.
a pain in it. Haan, to you're sitting on top of open source giants. Most companies are. So nothing to be ashamed of there. And, half of tech is building products, half of tech is, marketing and selling them. So totally agree to that point. And great that that's the path you're taking. A lot of people don't take that path also. But I think this is the best path to, what's the right word, okay, to be around very smart people, is by learning, by doing, by joining kuch bhi karke, building a product, and getting your hands dirty, going from there, versus having a very structured learning path. um, so yeah,
Got
I
it.
think that that's
So, like, to sum up, like, I'll say, like, I
huh,
want to be a open source maintainer, like in a good project. Yeah, that's
okay,
my, like.
love that. Yeah, do open source maintainers don't get paid much?
No, I know that, because I knew, like, the person from faker.js, or so, like, he was
Mhm.
pretty. I know, like,
But you're okay, that sounds great,
I'm
man.
fine with that.
I think that will change though. I think ये इतना ज़्यादा proof of work हो जाएगा कि companies would eventually, it will become a great hiring metric. And if not hiring, companies, as I said, chess है, if his license was a little more proprietary, I would have paid to use it, right? अब मैं उसको फिर से बनाऊँ पूरा to save $1,000 doesn't make any sense. So yeah,
Nowadays we see, like, people like Rich Harris, who build stuff, spelt, and like Sadcian, who build sad, like who build Sadcian, like they both
Mhm.
are got like, hired by Vercel, right? So
Exactly.
I mean, like, they paid, like, they get paid pretty heavily, but getting into that space, that is like crazy.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I think that, yeah, exactly. Versal is one great path to take if you especially are building a UI library, something related to Next. I'm sure that's a very easy hire for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Anything else you want to talk about? Any more insights you would like to share?
Any more insights? I don't have a lot to tell, but like, simply just to put out, like, I'm nothing, like, I'm no one different. I'm just an ordinary kid. Like, like the marketing. You told me I'm a great open source contributor. I contributed happily, and I'm in the second year. That's nothing, because to be really honest, I did like 15 PRs. That is like, if I were to be doing that and getting into GSOC, it would be pretty hard for the current situation, right? But I was there in the right place. I was the right person. I think that was the case. But just to be, really frank, I'm nothing. Like, I don't know anything till now. Like, I would love to learn a lot. Like, that's what my thing. I'm really hungry for learning, but as of now, like I would say, I know nothing. Like I just know how to connect the libraries and stuff. I would really love to understand, go beyond, like go deep, as like learn Rust and implement my own XYZ. And at that point, I'll be really happy. But till now, like I have been happy with myself, but I'm like we all are nothing in front of for example, the guy who built Linus Torvalds. Yeah, like he built Linux as well as he built Git because he wanted to maintain Linux, right? So there
Yep.
are like a lot of people who are much more who are much more like who have got a lot of like the quality in brain. So we need to really understand, like being a web developer or being an engineer, like we are nothing in front of them. So I always like to take this thing really seriously, and not to be like, okay, I know this, I know that, you don't know that, so you are much more smaller than me, you should respect me. Or I have seen this lot in like senior engineers, like I only like you are only the person like who knows a lot, and you don't boast a lot about it, because I know, like you have been to ICPC and you have been good there, but like you would always tell that DSA, it's optional. If you know what you are doing, you don't need DSA. If you don't know what you're doing, then you probably need these, because you are too honest with that stuff. So I haven't seen a lot of people like you, and I want to be I want to really be like you. Like it's a bold statement, but I hope one day.
I
Let's see.
appreciate that. I appreciate that, and that's like a great this thing to have. Never feel like you know enough. I think even Linus would feel like he does not know enough until you don't have that imposter syndrome in your head कि यार हाँ भी मुझे नहीं आता है, you तुम्हें आता भी होगा, see the thing is, knowing a lot of tech and knowing a lot of money are two very separate, like making a lot of money are two separate things. And if you chase the second one, right, कि हाँ I want to know a lot of tech, money just comes. You might make money by not knowing a lot of tech, but if you have the attitude that you have कि भाई मुझे सीखना ही सीखना है, and what I want, I know nothing, I still need to go deeper, then you will, money will chase you eventually. That should be the mindset, especially if you're young and 19 like you are. So great thinking, and I think it's a very small. When I was 19, I didn't know half as much as you do. In fact, I started coding when I was 19. मैं अपने first semester के end में, Feb is my birthday. Jan was when I started coding, which means when I was turning 19. So you're way ahead of me already. Just keep at it, and remain as humble as you are right now. Always have imposter syndrome, and keep at it. You'll get there.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and yeah, I think that's it. And like one more thing, like thank you, like to my parents, because they always did support me, because I was good at studies, but like I was investing my more time into writing stuff, like on learning this, learning that. So like they always encouraged me. I used to show them demos of whatever I built. So they have been a lot of motivation to me. They are like both of them are teachers, so they know like how to handle students, right? So I think I have been like I'm yeah.
That's great.
And
Love that. On that sweet note,
yeah,
let's call it here. Thank you, Sargam, for joining us, and hope you a lot of success in the future.
thank you so much, Arkirat.
हेलो,
हेलो गुड इवनिंग भैया।
गुड इवनिंग, क्या हाल है भाई?
एकदम बढ़िया है भैया सब।
यार तुम्हारा ना इंग्लिश का टेस्ट करना है मुझे, जस्ट टू मेक श्योर यू कैन कम्युनिकेट. तुम्हारी स्किल्स तो सही है तो.
ओके थैंक यू भैया, वी कैन गो ऑन प्रोसीड।
ओके कूल. सो हाउ इज इट गोइंग, सरगम?
Pretty good as a sophomore, because I'm doing great in development and stuff, and like my grades are also not that bad. That's why like I'm pretty fine with that.
Where are you currently?
I'm in the outskirts of Bangalore.
Oh,
like not really in the city, but like a bit far away from there.
got it. I'm also in Bangalore right now.
Oh,
Cool, man.
yeah.
Can you tell me a bit about your experience?
It's like I started all this since 3 years ago. Like my first commit was on, if I recall correctly, it was on I guess August of 2021 or so. And since then, like I started learning more about all of these like jargons on Web 2 and stuff. I know a lot about high level understanding of a lot of things, but not really into the depth. But like I know in a surface level about like how blockchain works, how AI is done and stuff. I really started this because I had a passion for this, but like it went on to become I went on to become really a software engineer. Like my dream was not to become one, but like I wanted to be passionate and code and stuff. But like yeah,
Got it.
it's going on great.
Okay. Have you worked at any company before?
Uh, it was like I'm working as an intern right now. It's been like 1.5 month I have been there. It's in like the backend is in Express and we are doing socket stuff. That's it.
Got it. And
Yeah.
what's your availability like then if you're working there currently?
Sorry.
What's your availability like if you're already working? Do you have a notice period?
No. It's like it's currently I'm an intern, so like I don't have like anything. Like I don't have a notice period or stuff. Like I'm free to joining immediately after the day.
Got it. तो ये मत बोलना यार, बोल देना कि मैंने पहले इंटर्नशिप करी है एंड अभी आई एम लुकिंग आउट करंटली इन कॉलेज, बट हाँ इस पर ही तो
Got it.
प्रॉब्लम आएगी कि हाँ तुम हमें भी छोड़ दोगे फिर, तो ऐसा है ना.
Oh, okay, makes sense. Yeah. क्या बोलना है एक्चुअली मतलब?
बोल देना मैंने इंटर्नशिप्स पहले करी हुई हैं, बट अभी यू नो सिंस आई एम इन कॉलेज आई, मतलब ये भी मत बोलना. तुम्हें उनको दिखाना है कि तुम फुल टाइम काम कर सकते हो. उनका सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम ये था कि तुम फुल टाइम कैसे काम करोगे, तुम तो कॉलेज में हो.
Yeah, that's like हो जाता है क्योंकि मैं रात में नहीं सोता हूँ ज्यादातर.
हाँ तो बोल देना कि यू नो आई वर्क इन द लेट आवर्स, माय कॉलेज इज वेरी पैसिव, so
Yeah.
you can ask Harkirat. I've been contributing almost full time to his repositories as well, so
Oh, yeah.
it's not a problem. थोड़ा आराम से बोलना, सही तरीके से. तुम थोड़ा तेज बोल रहे हो मेरी तरह,
Oh, okay.
एक्सेंट प्रॉब्लम रहता है. एकदम आराम से बैठ के, और हो सके तो एक अच्छा माइक खरीद लेना और अच्छे माइक से बात करना, ठीक है.
Yeah, makes sense.
बाकी चीज़ है भाई, कोई इशू नहीं है. मैंने अपनी तरफ से सब डाल दिया है. $15,000 तुमने बोले थे, 15,000 मैंने उनको बोल दिए.
Yeah, because like see, the real thing is that like money is not a problem for me because for right now because I still have a lot of years to end my college. So by then पता है ना, मतलब बस एक्सपीरियंस और मतलब नॉलेज के लिए करना है मुझे.
बट फिर भी ले लेना भाई इतना तो. मैंने बोल दिया, पैसे पे तुम्हारा कटेगा नहीं, तो पैसे ये मत बोलना मैं फ्री में काम कर लूँगा. $15,000 की बात हो गई है.
Okay, sure.
उतने लेना, और बाकी इंटरव्यू पे डिपेंड करता है. पैसे में दे आर हैप्पी. $15,000 इज वेरी रीजनेबल फॉर देम.
Yeah.
ठीक है, चलो चीयर्स है भाई, मजे करो.
ठीक है भैया, तो आपके इंग्लिश टेस्ट में पास हुई आया.
ठीक हो, बस थोड़ा आराम से बोलना, माइक अच्छा रख लेना क्योंकि एक्सेंट प्रॉब्लम रहती है.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
ठीक है, मैं अभी इनवाइट डाल देता हूँ. बस हाँ आराम से बोलना, थोड़ा तुम तेज बोल रहे हो तो एक्सेंट बैरियर होगा. और
Okay,
ये मत बोलना भी कहीं काम करता हूँ, बोलना आई एम लुकिंग आउट. मैंने पहले किया हुआ है, करंटली आई एम लुकिंग आउट.
Got it. Thank you so much भैया.
कूल है भाई.
Okay.
टेक केयर.
Thank you so much. Okay, goodbye.
बाय बाय.